Right, so let's get started. Let's dig into these top 5 soft skills that you are going to need to stay ahead in a world of generative AI. So, the first one that we start with is we have to fine tune our communication skills. And by this I mean verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and written communication. So, we need to have a long, hard look at this. And I'm going to break down each of these topics further down in this training. So, let's just go through these just to paint the picture. The second one, which is brilliant because as human beings we generally tend to be empathetic to begin with, is we need to get better at this. We need to grow this empathy muscle in order to be much more in tune with other people around us. The third thing, also something I'm passionate about, is it's all about building relationships and communities because these are going to last. This work and spending time on this is never a waste of time because these are the people that are going to support you as you are going to assist them. Fourth point is we need to work on developing our critical thinking skills. So thinking on your feet, thinking quickly during an interview. These are things that we need to focus on because these are things that AI is not going to have the ability in order to be able to do. And finally, we need to be agile and adaptable and be ready for whatever comes our way. So let's start with point number 1. Let's look at our communication skills and let's have a bit of a discussion around this because communication is so important these days. What's happening at the moment is I see a lot of unnecessary communication, a lot of people generating emails, spam should I say, that are generated using AI and coming through into our inboxes. So what can we do to stand out from the crowd when everyone is using a spray and pray or spam technique? Also, chatbots, another one of my bugbears. Everyone seems to have a chatbot these days or want a chatbot. But seriously, when is the last time you wanted to get something done? Maybe with your mobile phone, your cell phone, or with your banking. You just wanted to speak to a human being and explain exactly what you were looking for, right? Thank goodness a lot of companies seem to be going back to having people at the end of a phone call and not press 1 for this or press 3 for that. Those things just irritate me. But this is a lot of AI coming into play. Now, the thing is that, the chatbots are getting better and we need to brace ourselves for this. So if we can communicate better than a chatbot or than AI, we're still going to stay ahead. And that's why the personal touch and being human is going to be really important in the future. So some things that I want to put on your radar. People are better at drawing out information from other human beings. So when you're sitting in front of someone for an interview, and it could be a virtual interview, you are much better at getting the right information. You are much better at reading body language, looking at tone, looking at facial expressions. So these are things which we need to hang on to because this is the non-verbal communication that is really important. Also, AI at the moment, it can't dig deeper into something that someone says and you think, oh, that's either an alarm bell or that's something that's really great and you want to dig deeper into it. They can't do that just yet because they don't know the nuances to pick up on. Also, AI is not very good at building trust with people, right? People are much better at forming a trusted relationship with others. Another thing that comes really under the communication umbrella is about active listening. So when we are active listening, we're looking at verbal and non-verbal skills that we can really form a really holistic image of the person and an idea and an understanding of who we are dealing with. All of these are really, really important. Why do you think I still keep my video on my training and I'm not just recording this? Seeing someone is really important. I had a situation recently where I was talking to a colleague of mine, an ex-colleague of mine in the US, and her last interview was actually with a narwhal. It was a Gen AI generated narwhal. She was told the interview would take 45 minutes. After 2.5 hours, she literally gave up. So we need to make sure what is the story that we're sharing with people as they go through our interview processes? What is their customer journey like if they're going to be interviewed by a narwhal or a chicken? That doesn't really scream we're a human-centric organization now, does it? So let's look at point number 2. So point number 2 is all about your empathy muscle and how we have to get better at human beings as being empathetic towards others. And unfortunately, this pretty much sums up where we are as a society. I don't fully get the analogy because we don't get snow here in Africa, but this is honestly what is happening. So we need to be much more empathetic these days to each other as human beings. So a couple of things that I want to talk about is that we need to think about that first interaction. So recruiters, we always known as the brand ambassadors for companies. But would you like your brand ambassador to be an AI tool? You know, who's going to be reaching out to these candidates? Is it going to be someone who works in your organization, or is it going to be some kind of automation? This is something that we really need to think about. Also, our human touch will help us to connect quicker and stronger and for longer with other human beings. Way longer than it's going to take an AI tool to make a connection with a human being. Also, big part of being a human being is making people feel heard, seen, and understood. And we need to do this for our candidates because candidate experience is going to be really important in the next couple of months as people are playing around with Gen AI tools and we've got candidates sitting back and having a less than pleasant experience when dealing with AI. Also, empathetic work teams. So you know what it's like. You've all worked in companies that were maybe more empathetic than others, are more stronger and more successful. So we need to remember that. So again, imagine having a robot for a boss. Imagine being able to, or having to approach this boss and explain that you've got a personal crisis, something that's maybe happening at home. Are they going to be able to empathize with you? And this is what we've got to be really careful about. Humans are unique yet complex individuals. Robots are not going to understand us just like that. Join me for the next video where we'll be tackling tips 3 and 4.